All right, all right, all right. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a good Sunday, good weekend. We're back at it again. Another little grind of Lost Relics with some good coffee in this early afternoon. We have quite a bit to talk about today. Oh, man. Let me see. Hope you guys are doing good. F2P Gaming jumping on in. First in the chat as always. How you doing, my friend? Show me the way. It's going to be an interesting one today, brother. It's going to be interesting. There's a whole bunch of hype and FOMO, and I can't get my comments to pop up. There we go. You guys got the music in the background, right? Hopefully it's coming through pretty nicely while we finish up a couple of these silver bounties. There's a big hubbubaloo about what's going on with crypto tax infrastructure bill. I'm not sure if you've been paying attention to it or hearing of it. We got a whole bunch of people getting quite concerned here about what this new bill could mean for the crypto industry. All right, tunes are good. Bit rate's good. Looks like we're ready to get this going. But yeah, so actually the news about the infrastructure bill came out a couple days ago. It was like 3 or 4 days ago. Let me put this on performance mode really fast while we get this stream started. Yeah, no drop frames, looking good. Okay, so it's been a couple days now, right? Since we've been for those of you that are in the US, quick little refresher. Right now, as part of the battle of fighting COVID and helping the economy, the Congress is looking to pass portions of a infrastructure bill. You know, their grand idea, you know, should they be able to succeed, would be a bill that spends around $3.5 trillion, pumping it back into the economy. Obviously, you know, money printer go burr, so we are looking at the continuation of money being injected into the system, you know, for various reasons, good or bad, you know, your perspective. Personally, I kind of think that they don't really have a choice. On top of that, obviously, with midterm elections coming up, I'm sure that congressmen and women are going to be wanting to get this bill out so they can make an argument to their constituency that, hey, they got money pumped directly into their local areas and are doing something to support their constituency. So it's going to be hard to stop them, I think, from actually passing the bill, both Republicans and Democrats alike. So because of that, I do think that this bill, not in its current format, but this bill does have a much higher likelihood of passing than typical bills. You know, this is also the first time in a while that we've had like bipartisan support. So again, just increasing likelihood of this bill passing. So the thing that threw the entire crypto industry into a big shock was that at the last minute, the bill was language in the bill was added. Hey, what do we got here? We got I think we got a follow popping on in. Hasn't updated on my screen yet. That's strange. Hold on, let me see. We gotta see who's in here. Han Solo coming in with the sub on YouTube. What's going on, my friend? Welcome to the Strike team. Thank you for jumping on in. Came at the perfect time. We were just about to get into the crypto industry. So, news came out that a certain specific language was added to this first passing of the bill that could directly impact the crypto industry, at least in the United States. And if passed, it could be pretty severe. So I think it is interesting to note before we go into the details, knowing that this news has come out and that the industry is going crazy on crypto Twitter and all of the news publications, I would like to just keep in mind that during that information's release, the crypto markets have been pumping regardless. So take that for a grain of salt, you know, take that for what you will. Okay, so the language that was added into the bill, see, when Congress is passing these types of spending bills, they have to account for how they're going to generate the revenue to pay for these bills. Like, where's the money going to come from? That's what they have to account for. Okay, there's multiple different ways of accomplishing that goal. Like, number one, you can create new taxes. Number two, you can up enforcement to try to collect more taxes. And number three, you can try to close loopholes in the current taxing system that'll bring in more money, right? So what it looks like they opted for was the idea of closing certain loopholes from their perspective. So what some of the arguments that have been made from the IRS commissioner, granted, like, I am a certified public accountant and this is my area of expertise. Let me make sure to let you all know that this is not financial advice. I can only give basic financial advice when handling taxes related to specific clients. And since I don't know where you all are coming from or who you all are, can't be giving any realistic advice here, but I can give some basic education. So, the IRS commissioner a few months ago, the beginning of the year, I believe it was January, February, came out and made a pretty bold statement saying that cryptocurrency taxes were not an approximate $1 trillion in taxes specifically from the crypto industry was not being collected. How he determined that, how the IRS determined that number, I have no clue. But, you know, it seems a little crazy for me to assume, you know, that they're able to calculate that type of figure when the entire crypto industry is like $1 trillion in its entire size. So how they came up with a figure of the market's 1 trillion and taxes of 1 trillion are being missed, I have no clue. But, you know, of course, I don't expect anyone really could come up with that number. It's all throwing guesses out there. So that being the case, they're looking to want to close these loopholes that they perceive to be, you know. Do I think people are appropriately handling their crypto taxes? I don't think so. Why? Because this is one of the most complicated and new forms of technology. You know, it's hard with no guidance from a majority of these institutions on how these items should be classified, reported, accounted for. You know, there's no guidance. So, you know, how the hell they came up with that number, who knows? Regardless, what they decided to do is they decided to go ahead and push forward with a new type of definition. So, according to the tax code, there's multiple definitions of different types of individuals, businesses, corporations, whatnot. And depending on the definition, obviously, just like in any type of law, depending on the definition, certain businesses will fall under certain categories. And those categories will have different types of requirements. Maybe some categories pay more in taxes. Maybe some categories, you know, have additional reporting requirements. In this case, there's a specific term in the tax code that's called the broker term. The definition for brokers, broker-dealers, brokers. When you think of a broker, you can think of your basic like Robinhood or, you know, other type of financial institution where you would be trading securities. They went ahead and they updated according to this first draft. Remember, this is a draft. Nothing's final here. But they went ahead and updated the definition of what a broker is to pretty much include any company or individual that facilitates cryptocurrency transactions and receives, really, it says cryptocurrency transactions over a public decentralized ledger, and receives value in exchange. So with this broad definition, extremely broad definition, it can literally encompass the entire crypto industry. Everything from mining to staking to exchanges to DEXs to NFT projects, like to even hardware wallet manufacturers, like literally everybody in crypto. Which makes me feel like the thought and foresight that went into this definition did not come with a high amount of education or consideration from the current industry. So naturally the industry is freaking out, because if this is the case, if they fall under this new definition of a broker, then they're going to have new reporting requirements, not taxes. Like, they don't have to technically pay more taxes. They have to file more reports to the IRS automatically every single year by certain due dates. These reports that they have to file are pretty much, and remember, I'm going to simplify this as easy as I can to get to the heart of the issue. There's so much that I'm glossing over to try to make it easy and digestible. But these reports that they're wanting to, that they would now qualify to be forced to turn in are what's known as 1099 forms. 1099 forms, and the industry is correct in this case, pretty much 1099 forms are, in order to file a 1099, these organizations need to collect individuals' social security numbers, names, addresses, telephone numbers, pretty much KYC, know your customer, but for both individuals and businesses. For individuals, it would be the same type of information that you report pretty much when you file out your, as an employee, when you file a W-4. You're pretty much giving your taxing information to the government so that when you're working as an employee, they can take away Social Security and Medicare taxes. All right, got lucky on that hit. 1099s are the same type of information. You can look at it pretty much as like a W-4, but instead of you being an employee who's required to file a W-4, 1099s are typically for contractors. These are people who do not work specifically for a company, but provide services to that company. The general rule is that if you're paying an individual that's a contractor, and there's a huge discussion, one of the largest learning curves is for people trying to understand what the difference between an employee and a contractor is. Pretty much at the end of the day, employees are people that, as a business, you are in control of your employee. You tell them when to come to work, where to work, what to do. You're in control of their schedule and control of their work. Contractors are the opposite. You're not in control of their work. As a matter of fact, you're hiring them to do a job, and to which you have no say in how they do that job. You simply are desiring a certain output. So, like, as an accountant, I'm a contractor. You don't tell me, if you're hiring a CPA, you don't tell a CPA how to do their job, what time to show up for work, by when you don't have control. The contractor handles the work and gets paid for their services, and they're not an employee. 1099s, because contractors are not subject to these same type of payroll taxes that employees are, their taxing information doesn't really get reported to the IRS very as easily, I should say. Which means there's a whole situation. Come on, give me one more tree so I don't have to do another run. There's situations where the IRS was like, hey, all of these contractors are getting paid, all these people are getting paid, and they're not reporting it to the IRS. They're not reporting it because they're getting paid, and they're not part of the payroll tax system, so that information doesn't come on in. So the IRS and the Congress came up with these reporting requirements to force businesses that if you pay someone more than $600 a month, you're going to no tree. One more run, peeps. No tree. You're gonna have to send a report to the IRS every single year that says what contractors did you pay, how much did you pay them, and what is their KYC information, what's their social or their EIN, their name, their address. And the purpose for this is so that those people that got paid can't skip out on filing or reporting their income. I'm speaking extremely generally. So the idea here, the idea here is that Congress probably assumes that cryptocurrency information is anonymous and hard for the IRS or the government to come across. So they want to initiate additional reporting requirements so that these different businesses and individuals in the crypto industry will start reporting that information, just like a contractor, to the IRS, so that the IRS knows, hey, John Doe received, 15 Bitcoin for whatever whatever they did, or provided, or 10 Ethereum or whatnot, like meet the requirements so that the IRS now knows, hey, they got paid this amount of money. This money came into them that's tied to their social, their EIN. And because of that, they are now responsible for reporting their taxes, and it better match up to this information. There's penalties for not filing 1099s. There are penalties for not reporting your taxes. So let's say I'm a contractor and I work for someone who sends, it's the job of the employer or the person that hires the contractor. So company A hires me as an accountant to do work. It's the job of company A to tell the IRS how much they paid me. This applies for everything from contractors to rent to legal services, across the board. The businesses that are the ones that are paying are the ones that are responsible for letting the IRS know who they paid, how much they paid, so that those people can't skip out on taxes. So if the government wants to apply this same type of logic to the current crypto industry, pretty much what they're saying is that, hey, you got to let the IRS know who's getting paid this crypto money, so that the IRS can make sure to tax the people and the companies that are receiving the money appropriately. Or else right now, it's very difficult for the IRS to figure out how much people are making and how to tax them appropriately. That's the issue. These rules make complete sense in the traditional system that we work in. If a contractor gets paid, you report it, that contractor pays their taxes. It makes sense. It's been working for years this way. The problem is that this same type of structure doesn't really work for the crypto industry. You're trying to apply old rules to new technology, right? So for example, anybody can now be considered a broker and be forced to do these 1099s if they're paying cryptocurrency and receiving some type of value in return. So like you could look like stakers, for example, or miners, for example. A miner's providing a service, and should they receive the block reward, getting paid in crypto, right? But these miners that are receiving crypto and value, because this definition is so broad, it could apply to them, okay? But how is a cryptocurrency miner supposed to collect KYC information on the people that they're transacting with? Like, how is that supposed to happen? Like, furthermore, let's say these dexes, like a Uniswap or a Sushi Swap or somebody along those lines. Someone connects to the protocol from some anonymous wallet somewhere around the world. How is that decentralized DEX? How is that DEX supposed to collect this information from these different individuals? But yet, according to this new definition, they would be required to. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense within the crypto industry, right? My first thoughts when I heard about this news is that, yes, I did think exactly what I did think that the crypto industry was going to freak out. But I did understand two things. One, the bill is still early draft and going to change significantly. Number two, even if it were to pass, it's very likely that the legislation, the actual law, will then be interpreted by the IRS and other agencies, and they will give their regulations on how this is supposed to be enforced, reported. They will then make their interpretation of the law and how the law is to be executed. So in that step, when they provide those new types of regulations, they can easily see like, hey, some of this is impossible. Congress obviously didn't mean for this to apply across the board. They meant it for this specific case, whatever, right? Which again could change the whole game. It could work the other way around too. The regulations could come back and take a much stricter step in terms of what the Congress, what the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law could read, right? So I get it. I expected the crypto industry to freak out. I actually didn't expect the market to react the way it did. I was hoping to get a buying opportunity, but it just didn't come up. Regardless, I mean, for those of you guys that have been checking out the streams recently, you all know that we took out a position in DOT, you know, near the bottom, and we are pumping and extremely happy about that. But can you know, so this information coming in the door, the reaction of the crypto industry, which of course is always lagging because people need to read it and need to understand it. You know, CoinDesk did as good of a job as I think as they could without actually like publicizing the infrastructure bill to get the idea across. And yes, theoretically, if this passes in its current state and is held to like the letter of the law based on what it says right now being extremely broad, then yeah, this could be an issue. I think it's way too early to assume that, but I don't think it's early enough for those that are major players in the industry to not take notice and not be, I don't want to say be fighting back, but be, honestly, cryptocurrency industry leaders should be in the room to help create some of this legislation to make it better, to where the industry won't be as burdened and you won't like cut off innovation in the United States. I mean, the United States has been given such a huge opportunity right now with the fact that China took such a heavy stance on crypto that they now, hold on. Yes. All right. They now took such a heavy stance on crypto that they're pretty much passing the opportunity to the US and to the European Union and other countries. Like, they're literally passing the ball, and like the opportunity is there. The problem, I think, is just that the cryptocurrency is so new that the government's just going to be too slow to keep up with it. But I do think that there are some very smart individuals that can help guide the way to a very prosperous industry that could help facilitate the growth of the crypto industry. We'll have to see. Regardless, right now, this information coming out is obviously, I don't want to go to the level, I don't want to call it FUD, because I do think it is an issue that should captivate a significant amount of attention. When I read it as a CPA, when I read it, my very first instinct was, okay, this wording is too broad, far too broad for it to not be amended before it gets finalized. And more than likely, based on like the fact that you're tweaking the definition of brokers, makes me feel like they're specifically trying to go after organizations like Coinbase's, like Binance's, like DEX's, which is DEX's is going to be hard because DEX's, the way that they operate right now, I don't know how they could possibly, apply, you know, I don't know how they could get around this other than creating a more centralized version, which Uniswap could be doing. Well, they already are doing, but I could see it as an attack on DEXs, and I can see it as a notice to like the Geminis of the world and the Coinbases of the world to say like, hey, every single one of your users, you need, just like other stock brokers, you need to report their basis capital gains and losses to the IRS so that those individuals report their taxes at the end of the year. The idea being that if you know that the IRS already knows that you made money, then you need to go file your taxes, or else you're going to be subject to more penalties and interest, and you don't want to poke the bear, right? So if the IRS knows, it's going to scare more people into doing their taxes, and rightfully so. That was my initial thought, that they're going after those types of individuals, and even maybe going after DEXs and putting a foot down, like DEXs, they want to try to rein in what DEXs can do. What I personally think from DEXs is that we're just going to enter into a world where, and it already exists, but we're going to enter into a world, I think, where you're going to have, I was listening to a really interesting legal discussion, and who was hosting it? Maybe it was the blockchain, I think it was the Blockchain Gaming Alliance, specifically for games. They brought in a crypto lawyer who was discussing the idea of like, what happens when an entity is created, like a corporation or an LLC, you know, with 5-10 developers who create a decentralized automated market maker, right? Like a DEX. And then every single individual quits. Okay, they've created underneath the protection, the legal protections of corporations and limited liability companies. They create this this work, and then they release it to the public, and they all quit. And after they quit, there is no further development needed, and there is no one now responsible within the organization for whatever the decentralized or the DAO does, you know, after all of these individuals quit. In other words, like if I quit and the project succeeds because it's honestly just a computer, you know, it's just a computer running these requests. It's just a protocol. How do you tax a protocol, right? Like, yeah, you could want to tax the individuals while they're working there for the earnings that they made, but after they're gone, like, who are you gonna tax? There's no one to tax. So that's going to be something this is why I go back to the idea of, like, you're trying to take these old rules and apply it to crypto. And in some cases they're going to work, in some cases that they're not. But when they don't, the reason why they're not working is because this technology, new rules and regulations and laws need to be passed specifically for crypto, addressing crypto. There's no other way. You know, right now we have the SEC saying, like, classifying certain types of cryptos as one thing, the IRS classifying it as something else, you know, the FTC classifying it as a third thing. It just is, it's messy, and it doesn't provide any type of guidance, you know, for businesses. Like, hey, I've been poking around with 3 or 4 different types of crypto businesses, and every single one of them I come across the same issue about, like, how would I do this when I could set this up to work. Like, I know how to make it work for the IRS. I don't know how to make it to work for the SEC, but I do know, you know, like 3 or 4 out of the you know, agencies you can what's the word? You can satisfy, but there's always one outlier or 2 outliers. It causes issues. F2P Gaming coming in, sounds like that they're going after exchanges because that's where their understanding stops. See, that's really good. Understanding how Congress, this is the way I've always kind of taken my cryptocurrency, like, knowledge. Like, you always want to be a step ahead of the game, right? So let me see here. 11 spellbinding powders. That's expensive. Okay, let's turn this in. Let's get this new quest, and we'll come right back down to it. Do me a favor, guys, while I'm doing this, go ahead and put your thoughts into the chat. Hit me up on, if you're on Twitch, jump over to YouTube and help a brother out. If you're on just for a follow or a sub, and hit me up on Twitter for sure. I wanted to get more people engaged on Twitter too, because I like to share new information and my general thoughts. F Munoz CPA on Twitter. For any of you that are watching live and or on the VODs. So let's turn this bad boy in. Let's see where we go next. Should we go rocks? We should probably go rocks and slither. Yeah, let's go rocks and slithers. And let's open up this silver bounty chest. See if we get a little lucky. What you say? What you say? And nothing. 600 gold. That sucks. Okay, so we're going for, you know what? Where can I get both in here? I cannot. I can get them here. Maybe I'm going to Odinspire Sands. I need 77 rocks and 100 something slither. Yeah, let's go there. Let's go there. Let's give it a shot, and we'll do a little bit of let me get my loadout here situated, guys, and we will get right back to it. Where are we at? We're going to Odinspire Sands, so I'm going to take you. It's mining and scavenging, so we'll go with you. And I guess we can just take... Let's just take the incubator for safety, because I don't think I'm going to have a health issue. I haven't been to Sands in a long time. It's probably going to be better to take bottle, but we'll see. Oh, let me get my, let me see, tools. So we're going to, what was it, mining and scavenging? Where you at? Give me you. Give me a couple of you. Give me a couple of you. And where were we? It's mining and scavenging, right? Let's double check. It is mining and scavenging. What do I need to do for scavenging? What are the requirements? I don't think I can get that in Ordered Spider. Spire Sands. Only thing really would be the cactus. Is there cactus and cauliflower? Or no cactus. What are these? These can be with anyone, anything. Okay, cool. Let's go. So, coming back to where we were at. Yeah, I agree with you, man. With F2P Gaming on Twitch right now. I do think that you're right about... I think they're trying to target dexes. It doesn't make sense how this would work to target dexes, but maybe it's just it could just be a threat, a shot across the bow of like, hey, you need to come in here and we need to figure something out now because, well, I don't know, man, because they're going to be passing this infrastructure bill, I think, pretty soon. I just don't see a way where they're not going to be passing rules. I just don't see a way. Let me switch this up. I think this is going to be a high priority for the Congress. Like I said, going back to my thesis about right now, I think we're needing to. I don't think that the government can stop printing money. I think that they may attempt to, but I don't think that they can. Yeah, see, bottle would be nice here. We will see. I don't think that they can stop printing money because I think we're trying to fight deflation. I think what'll happen is we'll probably get a test. Like regardless, like when the economy is coming out of a recession, it's quite common for the Federal Reserve to go ahead and try to raise interest rates, try to taper, and in doing so, they cause, a little market panic. So then they start printing again and then they repeat the process until the level's right. And then they start raising rates and everything. To them, everything is supposed to go back to normal. I think this time, if they try that, which they will sooner or later, they don't have a choice. They're going to try it because they're going to get such huge fight back from the market. But I just don't think it's going to be successful. And then we're going to go back to printing money again. Regardless, if they pass this 3.5 trillion stimulus package and the Fed continues to pump money into the system, like crypto, collectibles, real estate, anything that is a hard asset is going to go up in value. So that may be one of the main reasons why we see crypto pumping right now. Jumping back in. Hi Tridamir. What's going on, my friend, on Twitch? He says, Striker, do you see Lost Relics in the future being more profitable than Axie, for example? That's a very good question. It's too early to tell, to be quite honest. Here's the way that I look at it. I don't look at it as profitability based on what people are able to earn right now. The things that I look at are, and I've looked at both, obviously invested in Lost Relics, been looking at investing in Axie multiple times, been reevaluating teams to buy, and then I fall off, so on and so forth. What I value is the amount of time people put into games. Right now, I think that Lost Relics, being a more fleshed out game and more entertaining game than Axie, has the ability to retain players and thus retain a more stable economy over time. But these games are just in different development process, different times of their development. Like when I'm looking at valuing different crypto projects, like you have step one. Let me change the music up really quick. Change it up. All right, there we go. When I'm looking at crypto projects, I look at them into different phases. Phase one being the initial concept white paper launch. Okay. Phase 2 being actual the proof of concept implementation of their idea. And then step 3 being the what's the word I'm looking for? After passing the proof of concept phase, we then get to the phase of like actual understanding of earnings, reporting of earnings, and being able to calculate out how the system will grow and what that rate of growth will be over time. And then step 4, mass market adoption. I personally think that Axie right now is in step 3. It just switched from step 2 to step 3. It had the proof of concept initially. Now we're in step 3, whereas the part of like trying to understand Axie's growth over time and being able to track that out. Lost Relics, I don't think is in step 3. I think Lost Relics is in step 2. Proof of concept is there. The game and the ability for individuals to earn is possible, but right now it's not fully fleshed out. It needs to get to a finalized state, which Cliff, the way I look at video game development in general, typical video games, like when you look at indie developments like, The Witness, or a project that took 5 years to make, Celeste, other like major, independent games that competed for games of the year in their respective fields. Like it all took them, 4 to 7 years for development, right? Like, and these are some of the greatest independent game creators of the current generation, So that's the timeline that I typically give games. And each game, depending on its model, it's gonna hit, it's gonna hit at different points in time. Like I said, Lost Relics Axie Infinity right now has made it to step 3 in my personal book, and is looking for accomplishing mass market adoption, which, give them a year, 2 years, that may happen. I know the revenue that they brought in now, people can start to make that argument, but it needs to be a more sustained for me to be able to say we're in step 4. So yeah, I do think, going back to your question, I do see Lost Relics being extremely profitable, but in what way and what sense right now, it's hard to determine because the system isn't fully fleshed out. The reason why I say it's profitable is because the amount of time and hours that players are wanting to put into the game is how I currently value the ecosystem. So right now, as player bases grow and as the amount of hours continue to increase, so does the network effects of Lost Relics. Get ready for what we're going to see this Halloween, Christmas, this holiday season, going all the way through Easter. I think we're going to be pretty surprised here at what's going to be possible. So yeah, definitely. I do think, even with Axie Infinity right now, I do think that the logic of looking at it in terms of like how much you're able to earn per hour, I don't think that's the correct mindset. And I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, then I'll miss out on Axie. But if I'm right, I just personally believe that the play to earn is going to take, 3 to 5 more years of development. And in that time, the best mindset for individuals to have should be looking at these NFTs as investments, not as current sources of reliable income. I know it's the dream. I know it's the dream for gamers to. I went through that same dream too when I was competing in Halo 2 at the age of 16. Like, I was like, hey man, I can like turn this into, I can make money from this, and like I could have fun doing this, and I enjoy this, and that's the dream, right? Being a quote unquote professional gamer. I get it. It's been around for a long time, and it's still, I was playing Halo 2 in 2006. It's been 15 years since then, and being a professional gamer is not something that can easily be done. And I'm not even talking about competitive sports. I'm just talking about earning from playing. I'm not talking about esports. We're not there yet, but it's coming. And I think play to earn is that final piece of the puzzle. And as crypto plays out, I do think it's gonna be the thing that takes it to the next level. I really, really do. The prices of the market in some items on we're reading some questions here on Twitch, guys, for any of you that are on the VOD on YouTube. have dropped. The prices of the market in some items dropped even 900%. In some of them, though, and since we don't have the record of the market, I don't see it recovering anytime soon. Are you talking about NFTs, or are you talking about cryptocurrencies? The prices of the market in some items dropped even 900%. I don't. Give me a little bit more information on. Oh, Lost Relics. Oh, Lost Relics. Yeah. So, so when you say drop, I think you're coming from. I personally think you may have made a little mistake there in terms of your interpretation of what some of these items were to be valued. I could be wrong, but the fact that we didn't have any liquidity in items that were rares and below, the fact that we didn't have any liquidity meant specifically that the items that were being sold on Enjin X before the adoption of the Shadow Stone system was what were incorrect. There was not enough transactions to actually assume that those transactions were the correct market prices. That doesn't mean that you can't use that information to make educated decisions. I did. You know, when Shadow Stones came in, when the new system came in, I brought in, and you can go see the old VOD or my old Twitter feed. You know, I don't remember how. I think it was like around 3,400 Enjin that I converted into Shadow Stones, waited for the market to drop 50% on anything that was rares and below, and then started going ahead and taking positions in those, because I knew that the prices that were listed on Enjin X were not going to be correct because there wasn't enough liquidity. They weren't being sold enough of the time. The items that were the other way you can look at it too is like we just hit so it's August 1st, right? Like it's officially August 1st. I'm totally blank on the date. Yeah, August 1st. Let me pull up the Lost Relics website really quick so I can give you an idea here, so I can let you know how I did some of my valuations. If I go to lostrelics.io and I go to the frequently asked players list, okay, so it's a brand new month. So when you go to the frequently asked questions page, the third item down says how many active players are there, and these are monthly active players. We just hit a new month, so I believe that amount just went. Got recycled. So right now we're looking at 11,600 players. You can add up all the transcendent items in the game. There's more players right now than there are transcendent items. Add up all the mythicals items in the game. There are more mythical items than there are. Wait, 11,000? Actually, that might have changed. Let me see really quick. If I go to blockchain items. And I go down to mythicals. So let's say there's 100, 150, let's say 500, 750. Yeah, definitely more players than there are. Mythical items. Okay, so now we go to legendaries, and here's where we get into the part where like legendaries are now going from scarcity counts of anywhere between 200. And 500. This is the part where now we're getting to the point where there's not enough supply going around for these items to be all used by the current player base. So as the player base grows, it's going to be harder and harder and harder for people to fight over transcendence, mythicals, and legendaries. That's why you see right now a big price difference between legendaries and epics, because there's significantly more epics that are available than there are current players. So that's one. Number two, I'm not even using my blue gram because we're talking. So that's one. Okay, hold on. Let me jump back in with you guys. One example, 2 months ago, someone bought Moss Oak for 19. Exactly. Going back to what I was saying. The $19 was an incorrect price. The $19, I'm guessing you're pulling that in from Enjin X. So that's the issue, right? And I get it. You know, I understand why NFT players were not taking the critical thinking to the next level to assume what these see. No one's actually doing a hard depth analytical review on why that Moss Oak is worth what it's worth. Everyone's just relying on old price information to determine what it's worth. But what someone bought it for back in the day no longer applies because a new update came out, or skills got changed, or leaderboards have changed. Like, for example, like Moss Oak, what's it used for? Moss Oak is used for... does Moss Oak currently have a use? I don't even think it does. Yeah, it doesn't even have a use yet. So like, so it's a bad example, but you could have an item that gained utility or lost utility from one patch to another. That's why, you know, a lot of players come in and say that, like, that they know what the best items are and why they're worth certain prices. And they completely can. And I have my own opinions on why certain items are worth what they are. But at the end of the day, any single opinion needs to be discounted because of the likelihood that a future update can either add or remove utility from any of these individual items, right? So you should be coming up with an idea of why Moss Oak is worth what it is, not judge it based on the old price that it used to be. So you know, that's where we're at. Also, Moss Oak probably has what, a supply of 5,000? No, more than 5,000. How much? What's the supply of Moss Oak? Let's see. Let's go to rares. Let me type in Moss Oak. Also, 5,000 is the supply count. Moss Oak's also a consumable. You know, would I rather pay 20 Enjin for a consumable, or 20 Enjin if you're using 19 as the, you know, I'm rounding up obviously. Would I rather pay that for a consumable that's a one use, or get a $20 epic bow that I get to keep forever, or until I decide to sell it? So it's these types of discussions that we need to have to be able to make like a more firm idea. Here's my Twitter handle for those of you that are asking. It's F Munoz CPA. Go ahead and hit me up on Twitter whenever you can. So let me jump on in really fast with some of you guys. Let's see. One example. Okay, yeah. So, and honestly, you think that the Moss Oak is a $19 item? I personally don't. That's why I picked it up significantly less. Well, I mean, look, these are legitimate questions, especially for new players and even for educated players that have been here for a long time. Like, I can give you an argument on why I think something's worth a certain price. Did I? I didn't even go to the... Did I go to the stash? I don't think I even went to the stash. Yes, I did. I could give you an educated opinion on why I think certain items are worth certain things, and someone else can give, you know, their own valid opinion. That's what I'm honestly looking for, is to have like more educated analytical discussions on why certain NFTs are worth what they're worth, not only in Lost Relics, but honestly the NFT gaming space in general, the crypto gaming space. I think that is very important to have. I think there's a lot of education that's been coming on, and that's why I've been playing with different ideas of businesses that I can start. And we might have something here in the next few months, depending on how things play out. Yeah, so you think it's an item that's worth 8 to 11, but why do you think it's worth 8 to 11? Like, there's nothing wrong with your price point. I honestly, I don't really... To me, the number doesn't matter. To me, what matters is the reason why. You know. So I'm not sure what happened to the so-called new accounts, which were allowed in the game. We technically have over 15k new accounts, but 500 daily players. Now, remember, 500 daily players isn't a correct number. What you're seeing right now is 500 concurrent players. I could log off, or 100 players can log off in the next 10 minutes, and another 100 players can log back in the next 10 minutes, and that is a completely different player base, but that number will still stay at 500. That's why I like to use the monthly count that is on the lostrelics.io webpage. You can go to the frequently asked questions section. It's the third item down. Today's the first of the month, so I'm assuming that counter reset for today only, and if it did reset, right now we're at 11,600. I forgot what the number I just read to you guys was. So it's a combination of both concurrent and monthly. They're both very important figures. And I would also assume that we have more than 15,000 accounts that are available to be used based on what I've seen from the past. Let's see. They see they can't earn dollars, and they thought that they will, like Axie, for example, so they just leave. That's okay. I mean, look, like I said, I personally, I think that, hey, there is an opportunity right now to earn the type of money and the type of structure that they want to earn right now in these different games. I personally think that there is much more alpha to be gained, much more investment gains to be made, by investing in NFTs and waiting for appreciation versus day-to-day earnings. But it's two different types of mindsets. You have players that are workers and players that are investors. And everybody should play to their strength, you know? There is no right or wrong, you know? And plus we need both to be able to like explore this space, because some at some points are going to have more, like, look at it like this. If you're able to earn, let's say, $1,000 a month, and I know this is on the high end. Let's say some of the best players that are able to earn $1,000 a month in Axie Infinity. The thing I would question is, for the amount of hours that it takes for you to earn that $1,000, would your time and effort or investment be better spent by putting it in a different project or a different cryptocurrency or a different NFT? So, for example, we purchased, for those of you that have been on the stream a while ago, we purchased Polkadot. Granted, you have to have money to make money. I get it. This is the way it is. So some people are forced into different categories. But that's the whole idea of an economy. As the economy grows, people can increase to new positions, be able to make different types of investments and ideas, execute on those ideas. But I had the ability a little while ago to make a pretty big investment, and I had to make a debate about whether or not I was going to be purchasing Lost Relic NFTs or Axie Infinity NFTs or specific cryptocurrencies. And from my evaluations, I decided that at that point in time, the best way to increase, or the best likelihood to increase the funds, was to prepare for Enjin's transition into Polkadot. So I went ahead and I decided to pick up and double down on a Polkadot investment at $10 a coin. That led me to, I kept pushing the wrong button, $10 a coin that right now Polkadot is trading for, and this was like a week ago. Polkadot right now is trading for, like, I think it hit almost $20 while I was sleeping. Where's Polkadot at? Polkadot's right now at $19.20. So that's like nearly a 100% increase over the course of amount of time. So, like, I get it that not a lot of people have the same type of confidence investing in cryptocurrencies as I do. But for those that do, these are decisions and discussions that need to be had all the time. You know, being able to manage a portfolio and go forward is going to be extremely important for gamers in the cryptocurrency eco space. No, in the play to earn economy. Like, a lot of people are thinking right now that utility is the main way to value these items, and in my personal opinion, it's not. Utility is the second most important item to determine price. Number one is actually the health and the growth of the cryptocurrency markets, and /or I guess you can make it a second one, /or the network effects of each individual project that you're dedicating your time or your investments to. Claudius jumping in on Twitter. Oh, you know what, guys? If you're on YouTube, hold on really quick. Where's my bad. Let's see. Oh, Han Solo jumping in on YouTube. Thank you, my friend. Please stream more of your thoughts. Very insightful. I want to, man. I really, really want to. I was streaming pretty heavily in 2020 with during holiday season with Lost Relics, even the beginning of 2021. But work took a lot of my time with tax season in the beginning of the year, and recently had to take on a bigger workload as one of the CPAs in the office went on maternity leave. So carrying a little bit heavier of a load, which takes a little bit more of my time. But I'm more than happy to help out. Jumping back in with Twitch really quick. Claudius, let's see. You were trying to make the point and I know that the item is garbage. Not even sure what the exactly what it was purchased for 19. Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. I understood where you're come from. I would not go as far as to say that the item is garbage. As a matter of fact, I mean, you can easily make a play on some of these consumables. If you can try to understand what consumables are correctly worth, you can make a play. Look, guys, forging could come out in 1 month, in 1 week, in 1 day, in, you know, it could come out next year. I don't know. These consumables that are not these resources, I said consumables, moss oak is a resource. These resources that don't have current utility, it seems very likely that you're going to be using these consumables for future production skills. You know, if that moss oak is needed when a new patch comes out for a new type of production, I could easily see them spike and go off crazy. But it doesn't. It all depends, you know. This is where you have to apply some, like, you have to apply either a premium or a discount to some of these items. Like, if you, for example, if you think an item is worth 5 Enjin, okay, but you also think that, hey, it's selling right now for 7. I think it's worth 5, but I also think that when utility gets added to it, it'll go to 10. You can make a legitimate argument about, like, hey, I think it's worth 5 right now, but you know what? I'll buy it at 6. I'll buy it at 7 because I know if utility gets added, it's going to go to 10. Like, these are the risks you try to take when investing. Consumables and resources are some of the most risky things in Lost Relics to purchase. But I mean, there could be huge success. I mean, I came in and I bought. Now I did this mostly for a bunch of different reasons. But I came in and I bought like 6 or 7 gold oak, okay, before they were going when I originally came in, and I paid up for them. I have no clue what the gold oaks are going for right now, but I'm assuming these gold oaks. I think I paid 50 Enjin for a gold oak what do you call it? Resource. Is it going to be worth 50 Enjin in the long run? I don't know. I actually assumed at the time that I bought it that I was paying up. But the reason why I bought it was because at the time I just recently got to level 40 woodcutting, and I wanted to make sure to close one of the gaps in my current Lost Relic blockchain items to be ready in case, to not be caught off guard in case a new utility gets added by a future patch. If forging comes out and that gold is extremely necessary, and also right now, like, what is gold oak used for? Used it to craft some of these already mythical stonebreakers and rod of fortunes, which right now, based on the current like structure of the game, are probably more valuable than the other tools. Why? Because the top tier dungeons are the dungeons that are focused on mining and fishing. You know, now you could also discount it because, like, for fishing, you can't even find these right now. So maybe the rod of fortune has less utility, should be worth less. Right now it says 250 gold. What's mining? 250 gold. 400. See, yeah, the numbers play out. The stonebreaker is more valuable right now because you can farm these items right now. Fishing rod. Maybe the fishing rod should be worth as much as in terms of gold, as much as the stonebreaker. Maybe. Who knows? But all I know is that if we get into a boom where those fishing rods are needed, I have the gold oak either available to craft if I'm able to level up to that point by then, or to sell to someone that's crafting. Like, now, these are, like, I'm in a much different position than a majority of you, so I'm sure some of you, like, right now are just more concerned about, like, getting your loadout. Like, what is your weapons? What are your relics? And I get it. Like, that's where you could come from. But I'm just trying to give you some basic ideas on the way that I think. You can then take those ideas and you can say, you know, Striker is completely wrong, and apply it to your logic, which is great. I would personally hope that you're willing to share that logic back so that we could have more informed discussions within the Lost Relics community or crypto gaming in general, to where these discussions are going to be needed, because as a community, when the faster we all can come up with legitimate arguments about why these things are worth what they're worth, the easier it'd be for new players to come in and adopt the game, these different games. And the easier they get onboarded, the greater the network effects grow, and the more valuable the overall project becomes. So we are literally in a space where over the course of time, and remember, when I say time, I'm talking about 3 to 5 years. Most players are not going to most people are not looking like that. I would be surprised if most crypto gamers are thinking beyond 1 to 3 weeks. So it really comes down to your mindset and what you look at it. I really need to catch up on chat. I'm sorry, guys. How far am I? Okay, let's see. Okay, perfect. So you came in here. Hi Tridamir. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name, my friend. Let's see. The reason why you think it's around 8 to 10 is for many reasons. Number one, there's 0 currently in the pool. Okay, good idea. I like that. Starting off with scarcity. Cool. Soon it will be used maybe for player housing or weapon crafting. Good. I like that. Now, when we do know, like the fact that it's like 0 in the pool currently, like that is a fact. Like that we know. The idea of it being used for player housing or weapon crafting is speculation. Doesn't mean it's not valuable, but it shouldn't be as valuable, I think, when you're determining how to value these. It shouldn't be as valuable as your first point, but okay. Number 3, it's rare and it's not easy to find. And I really think all rare items for me must be at a sales price of $10, like for blockchain. Okay. So I like how I like your train of thought. I would push back on the rare tier. I actually give you way more credit for the idea of like putting a tier system on price. I really like that concept because of how much Cliff has said that he wants to keep the tier model of like Transcendence, Mythicals. Like I can completely see how these tiers would be a step down staircase in terms of valuation. Completely get it. I would push you a little further and to think about like, take these tiers and maybe also take the ideas of like weapons versus consumables versus resources as their own tiers within that tiered system, and see if your logic plays out. But the idea about it being $10, I think it's a little too early to say definitively. I do think that there's some items, and I know there's some relic items that I have paid $10 for sure. I say relics, I mean like rare blockchain Lost Relic items. The reason why I would push that back on right now is in order for that to be correct, you would have to assume that every item that is in the rare tier would be worth $10 and players would be willing to pay for that, which means that there would need to be enough players or at least enough money in the system for every single rare item to be purchased, for that logic to be correct. And right now, based on how many rare items there are and how many player items there are, I don't think we're there yet. I do think that's... I see your logic. I see where you're coming from. I think to go any further, it's more of like a case-by-case basis. Of like where... You know, because like for you, it could be worth $10 because maybe, like, I mean, I don't know the question, the answer to this. Should wood cutting blockchain items be more valuable to woodcutters or to non-woodcutters? That's another thing, because like for me, I at the time I finally got up to level 40. It took me a while to grind it out, but I finally got there. Oh, cool that I can play with one hand if I'm smart. So if you get, I lost my train of thought. Damn, what was it? We were just talking about $10. Oh yeah, so like for me, like I bought gold oak, but because I missed out on the opportunity when it was being farmed. And since I didn't have the levels for it, I thought it was going to be very difficult for me to get a hold of it. But that applies like specifically to my place based on my levels, based on my time with the game. For other players, everyone is going to make different assessments. That's where it's going to be coming into it. So let's see. Claudia's coming back in on Twitch. You need to understand how blockchain items get recycled in the game. Okay, that's an important point. Understanding how the items get recycled. Assuming that the entire player base, the market would give the same reasons to buy back an item for $10. Okay, BC items get recycled in bounties, like Moss Oak. Okay, good point. They can frequently be found through bounties. Yeah, good. How frequently do you think that they will be turned in, and two, available? Like that? How often are they listed within bounty items to be turned in? Let's see. Also, why would anyone buy an item that has absolutely no use right now? Sure, maybe some prone to risk players, but that are yeah. I mean, so I definitely think that there are reasons for players to speculate. I think I don't even know what the percentage would be. 50% of all the items bought, even right now, items with utilities, I could easily make the argument that they're all speculation. But I get where you're coming from. I definitely get where you're coming from. Let me see what's happening with my YouTube really fast, because I'm getting a little bit of lag. How's the stream coming through, guys, on your end? I think we're doing okay. Bit rate looks strong. Let's see. Also, why would anyone? Oh yeah, I read that one already. Maybe some prone to risk. Okay. Petit Frogger jumping on in. Hey man, how you doing? I've been having your stream on a little bit in the background lately. Haven't had a chance to jump in and say hi though. Mostly when I'm doing some other work on. Keep up the hard work, my friend. That's true with bounties and etc. But think about how much time you need to find one of those items. That's a key. That's a big one. The time valuation of money is going to be huge, because we all don't know, because a lot of this is random. I don't think we're ever really going to be able to put an actual hours amount of time on it. But you can make certain assumptions on how long it will take players to find certain items. I don't know. It's tough. It's easier for me to make those types of assessments when we're talking about legendaries and up. Epics and down. Maybe even epics. You know what? I would even put epics in that category. I think I can reliably come up with an estimate on how often they would be able to be found. But rares and below, I don't think I would be able to do that. But maybe some of you that have been playing a little bit more in terms of like grinding out the hours over the past 2-3 weeks might have better logic on that. Let's see. Comparing rare items sale. So yeah, so good point. Like, I like the idea of now you're starting to even compare NFTs when you say that there are other ecosystems like Wax, the Wax network. Rare items are selling for certain dollar points, and most of them have way more than a 2,000 supply. That's a good way to look at it. Comparing it across networks too. I wouldn't put it top of the list in terms of valuation, but I do think it's important. Like comparing Mystic Axes to Lost Relics Transcendence. You know, that's an interesting number to look at. Interesting numbers to look at. Comparing, you know, the rarest of the Gods Unchained or Splinterland cards to mythical items in Lost Relics. Like those are legitimate, and for players that are like trying their best to play across both different games, you can make a better assessment there. Like that's where I think in the future players are really going to be making huge returns on investments. Like when you're involved in multiple games and at a high level where you feel completely confident that you understand valuations, you'll be able to switch out some value from one game to go in for a cheaper valuation in another game and be able to jump back and forth. It's going to be risky. Doing it now, I think, is extremely risky. But yeah. Let's see. Can you make any speculations about items' future utility? Right now, I don't see that there's a case for any item specifically. Also, even if it would be through utility, it still gets recycled. So I think the player housing idea and the weapon crafting idea are two very very good speculations. I think that's reasonable. You know, I don't think you can take any, obviously you can't take, I mean, it's speculation for a reason, but I do think that is, those are good points. I think those are good points. Could there be more? I mean, could there be more? I mean, I'm really interested to see on how this blockchain Shadowstone Emporium is going to play out with player. Is how are players going to use it over the course of the development of the game? I think that's very important. I foresee a world where players will choose at later points in time to specialize in certain areas of gathering or production, which would mean that as they come across other blockchain items, they will be using those items that don't benefit their production or skill as pretty much selling them for value to further progress on whatever their production skill is or whatever their gathering skill is, or you know, as the game grows, I do see it more likely for players to branch off into more specific trades and skills. Right now, you see a lot of players. I mean, we're in a sweet spot right now, guys, because those of you that are in the game, you are getting a huge farming and time bonus ahead of, you know, future players that are coming in. And because of that, you know, you can easily choose to like build out your skills more evenly, like I've chosen, right? That currently is a good method. As the game grows, I don't really think, because of the amount of time you have to put in, I don't know. I do think cycling will come up more, not only from crafting and bounties, but just players being able to convert to Shadowstones to pursue their skill or their spot on the leaderboard or within the game. All right, you just got your first firelight. Very nice. First blockchain drop in a couple days. I hit a few uncommons the other day. That was pretty nice. Fishing rod prices would increase. Let me see. Maybe I need to go a little deeper on that because there's probably other reasons too. Pretty big disparity here between these ingots and these ingots in terms of Shadowstones. 600 to 1200, double the price. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Could go down. Let's see. Claudia's coming back in. With the current player base of 11K monthly players, the current state, I think it's fair to say that rare recyclable items like Mosso will be found almost immediately by other players. It isn't really that much time to factor when you factor in the entire player base. On the other hand, it will be quite interesting to have a transcendent recycled item. Yeah. Yeah. I think I agree with you. In terms of like how often, but because they don't have utility, are players going to hold them? And as players hold them, they're going to recycle less. The less they recycle, more than likely, the more you're going to need to pay up for them because the supply is down, right? I mean, I don't know. It's a good perspectives. Keep in mind that you need to have the green axe to farm those. Moss oak. You would lose wood cutting XP to hunt for the moss. So that's not then. Between the two of you, I like the discussion. I think I would side more with Claudius's perspective. I do think you both brought up key points, and I actually do think that whatever the next update comes, the points that were all discussed, any one of those points could be dramatically impacted by the next future update. So keeping these all in mind, like you can like score them, like score it based on scarcity, score it based on utility, score it based on recyclability, score it based on whatever. You can have these individual scores. What if future bounty iterations do not include resources, you know? Or what if it just switches to resources only? I mean, you see what I'm saying? There's no really way to know. That's the speculation part of it. But this is what makes a market. The point isn't that we all are going to ever agree on prices. The point is that the meeting of the minds between different points of opinion, the meeting of the minds in terms of a market and the discussion of fair market value is what makes the market. And over time, yes, some ideas will come out more correct than others. But I always like to this is the same way that I put it when I'm discussing investing in crypto, in sports cards and collectibles, like one of the other businesses that I run, right? Well, there's a lot of new guys that have, especially with the boom from money printing, collectibles as well. The sports cards and memorabilia have exploded just as much as crypto has. So there's been a whole bunch of guys and girls that I've been talking to about different types of investments, whether it's in basketball cards or jerseys or autographs or posters or whatnot. And the same thing I tell them is the same thing I'm going to tell you guys here, which is that as you're learning and as you're coming into the idea of like making trades, making transactions, flipping through your collection to like try to improve your collection, you're going to have a whole bunch of different thoughts. But the one thing you should never assume is that when you're making a trade, specifically trades, in this case with crypto, you can look at it as trading like crypto for NFTs or whatnot. But when you're trying to make trades, as long as you have a reasoned opinion on why you're willing to give up a certain item for another item, there is the idea that one person wins in a trade and another person loses is a fallacy. To the general public, they can look at it that way and they can see it that way. But the general public has absolutely no bearing on how you should perceive the value you received based on the reasoning and logic that you put into it. Like, you may at a later point in time say like, you know what, I wish I didn't do that. It would have been smarter if I did that, or if I didn't make that trade. But in the end, if when you make the trade, you can rationalize out why it's worth you to receive a certain item and give up another one, it is possible for both people to win, even if one item goes up in value more than another item goes up in value. So don't ever be concerned. And it's hard, man. It's really hard because, you know, then we start getting into the ideas of like, you know, judgment. Other people are judging the decisions you made, or, you know, peer pressure or FOMO or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, like, if I have a $20 baseball rookie card and I trade it for, I put $1 to it, but if I have a rookie card that I believe is worth X, and I believe that another rookie card from another sport or an autograph for another sport better improves my collection for whatever reason, even if that item that I gave up skyrockets in price, the value that I get from the other collection could still be merited. So both people can win. And the reason why both people can win is because at the end of the day, we're just talking about the definition of fair market value, which nobody knows. Fair market value is just the meeting of the minds at a particular point in time. You may come back to later regret it, but at that particular point in time, you're making the best educated decision that you can at that point in time. You're going to be right, you're going to be wrong, but that doesn't mean right and wrong doesn't necessarily mean that you win or you lose. It's simply one step in the journey to be able to get you to where you want to go. So back in here. Let's see. You have someone who have 91 of them. Trust me, I suffered. But in Lost Relics, I like transcendent recycled ideas. I don't know, man. Transcendent recycled ideas. I like the idea of everyone getting an opportunity to use a transcendent Or yeah, I like the opportunity. I like the idea of everyone having the opportunity to experience a transcendent. I think that they are just going to be so coveted that it shouldn't be. It's kind of like, should everybody own a Lamborghini? Probably not. Should everyone have the opportunity to just drive it once? Yeah, probably. You know, you could go to Vegas and there's different types of businesses that like you pay for the day, you pay for it's an experience, you know, you pay for the experience and you can test drive all these extremely fancy or expensive or, you know, performance based cars. And like, that's cool, you know, but because of their rare nature, I think the idea of it being recycled, I don't know, that seems a little tough for me. But I get where you're coming from. I like the way that he had the executioner as a reward a few months ago. That way everybody got to hear, you know, when you earned it, you got to hear the transcendent weapon drop, you know, the transcendent weapon drop chord. And you also got to use, even though it was like a one shot, you got to use it, you know, in a dungeon of your choice. I think that's cool. And I don't think that really, hey, what's going on? Charizard's jumped in the house. How you doing, my friend? We're speaking about craftable items to be trans. Yeah, like a craftable, an item. Yeah, but I don't know, man. It's a tough one. I would need to see. My gut, just from thinking about it, says that it probably, you know, wouldn't intrigue me. But who knows? I mean, like a good, well fleshed out idea on what it could be and how it can work. I mean, I'm not willing to say no to anything. Is my point. Grandpaps jumping in on YouTube. What's going on, my friend? How you doing, bro? Doing good. Rifting is jumping in. Guys, if you haven't checked out Charizard's stream, you definitely need to do so. Hit him up on Twitter, and hit him up on Twitch. One of the top ranked players of the game. And frankly, Jay, I was looking at some of your stats the other day. Damn, bro, you've made an impact over the past few months. Major congrats. Keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. Let's see. Yeah, guys, we had a hell of a discussion there. To tell you the truth, I kind of need to catch my breath a little bit. I feel like I was talking the entire time. Feeling good though. Been doing good. Han Solo jumping in on YouTube saying, do you think Cliff should add something like renting like Splinterlands has to solve the problem of not enough supply and demand, etc.? So I've thought about that question a lot. Cliff has said that he's willing to, that he not only is willing to implement renting, like it's been discussed multiple times over the past year. I'm trying to think of it like from the rentee's perspective. Why would someone want to rent an item? And and on top of that, I guess based on how important that reason for wanting to rent the item, because I don't think we would assume. Okay, let's take it from a first principles type of approach. Step number one. Would renting an item be considered a want or a need? I would assume here that they're all going to be wants, that people are going to want to enjoy these weapons, that they're not going to need to. I think for a very small amount of the player base, it would be more valuable for them to rent certain items, specifically for the top players, so that they can continue and more efficiently gather and sell the resources or climb the leaderboards you know, that they would. So it's a want more than a need. So why would someone want to rent an item? The easy answers are that you want an XP boost. You want to be able to jump to the next level of the game, to be able to grind faster, move up the leaderboards, and give yourself better chances at farming blockchain items. I do think that want and that need would increase exponentially during events. I think that there is a good amount of players that understand how to make money during these Lost Relic events. And I do think for a majority of those players, which are already a small amount, I do think that a majority of those players would be able to receive more than the money that they pay for rent in return, assuming that they did so. I also think that since Lost Relics I would assume here that Lost Relics has more amount of hours invested in it from a player base. Like if you average out the amount of players versus amount of hours and come up with an averaged hours played per player, I would assume that that's probably higher than very many other crypto projects. And I haven't done the work, so this is just a guess. But if that is correct, then that's an argument to be made not only for the valuations of these items, but also for the valuation of renting of these items. Thank you very much for the follow on Twitter, Lauren MB 11. Welcome to the Strike Team, baby. Hope you're coming on in and enjoying yourself. So right now, because of the way the economy works in Lost Relics, like this is definitely an investment game. Like if you're buying an item and playing the game other than just for fun, you're buying in it because you see the potential of the gameplay and the potential stickiness of the game. And thus you're able to say that if these items are more likely to appreciate over time, the same way like if you were purchasing a piece of land or a piece of property. Like that's the current understanding and the current way people are able to do the play to earn journey in this model. Now, we could come up with a whole bunch of different scenarios. Cliff could, for example, take a percentage of the earnings that he makes from the blockchain emporium. If he's charging, I'm just making this up, guys. This is just complete speculation with no basis whatsoever, but throwing out random ideas for the sake of discussion and whatnot. Cliff could take, or maybe increase the fees he charges on the blockchain emporium from 3% to 4% and make that 1% increase be able to be recycled back into the game. Maybe shadow stones could drop the way that adventure stones used to drop before the game went free to play. You know, in that case, that would be adopting a type of model that Axie has right now. And I am a firm believer that this play to earn model isn't going to be a one model rules them all type of approach. As a matter of fact, I think every single individual game will need to tweak the play to earn model for their current game mechanics. But it's an idea. It's an idea that could mean that if players are then able to do that, it gives another reason for renting, because then the more you're able to grind, the more likely you're able to find some of these shadow stones that you can recycle back into the game and or profit, take out of the game. So I don't really see the utility for renting there yet, other than the major one being that, hey, if you are a firm believer in investing in this game for the long run, then you're going to want your account to be highly leveled. You're going to want to be in a better position to take advantage of the game's growth and new players onboarding, which means it is probably going to be valuable to some degree for you to be able to level up your character, increase the amount of XP you get per hour to set yourself up for that position in the future. That's probably the best case for the best example of renting right now, other than just streaming or flexing or whatnot. So yeah. Hey, we got a resub from Charizard. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for jumping on in. Really good stream. Enjoying the conversation. Yeah, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little gassed right now. This conversation went much deeper than I was thinking, to be quite honest. I really did want to come in and first just address, and I know most of you jumped in halfway through the stream. That's typically how it works when you're streaming. But for those of you that didn't catch the very beginning, I really did want to lay down my thoughts and opinions on this crypto infrastructure bill, and finally using the blue gram. This entire time I've been doing the runs and just enjoying the conversation with you guys, and haven't been efficiently grinding at all, but whatevs, it's all good. Oh man, this song reminds me of like Super Mario RPG, The Legend of the Seven Stars. That entry jingle. Love that game, guys. Love that game. I actually got a chance to see. It was a speed run, games done quick of Super Mario RPG. Dude, I played. Oh man, the countless hours I've put into that game when I was a kid. Definitely one of my. Oh man, wrong button. Definitely wrong button. Oh well. Yeah, renting could help as well, maybe specifically with mining rifting coming in with a chat on Twitch. Maybe specifically with mining as well right now as ranking it up and being able to run Mount Ultcath with 16 nodes versus other players with single digits could help them tremendously, even when trying to improve their mining skill. Yep. So it comes back to the idea of like grinding the leaderboards, right? So like my real question, I don't really see a world, maybe you do. I don't really see a world where that leaderboard, I'm trying to understand like the importance of the leaderboard as this game progresses. Obviously right now it's top 100, right? It's top 100 in all these different categories, and we all love the idea of wanting to be able to like, be on that leaderboard and hold your spot and like be known for like one of the players, excuse me guys, one of the players that like has put in the time and the effort and one of the experts of the game. Like I have had multiple thoughts about like when/if we go down a type of play to earn model, like some of these other games are adapting in the future. How would the importance, I guess the leaderboard would then transition into like, the leaderboard would be secondary, wouldn't it? Like the leaderboard would just be a reflection of how many of the top players that are attempting to earn. Like the whole point of the leaderboard would be being like, that guy or that girl is earning the most versus, I don't know. Do you, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, do you think the importance of the leaderboard is ever going to go away? I mean, importance, maybe it's not even that important right now, to be quite honest. Or is it? I mean, it's a flex. Again, it goes back to this want versus need. I know with games like RuneScape, I mean that the leaderboards were like huge discussion topics, especially when new skills came out. It's I don't know. Do you think it will become important? I mean, I don't know. We will see. We will see how it progresses into the future. But here we go. Oh man, guys, we have had quite a stream today. I think more than likely we're going to be calling it after. No, I'm not going to be able to complete this quest anytime soon. I think more than likely we're going to have to wrap it up here. As a general recap, we talked about a whole bunch of stuff. We talked about the cryptocurrency infrastructure bill, what I think is going to happen going into the future. I do think it needs to be on everybody's radar. I also think that we shouldn't be freaking out about it just yet. I think the House will have an opportunity to make some dramatic changes. I mean, who knows? They could even try to come down even harder on crypto. We will see. But the market's reaction so far isn't giving it as much weight. Then again, it may be giving it some weight, but right now, like, I was looking at some of these liquidity, like how much BTC, how much Bitcoin, and how much Ethereum is currently available on exchanges, and they are reaching some extremely low numbers, to the point where, like, I wouldn't be surprised. I was coming in here thinking that we were going to have maybe a little bit of a pullback, just with how much we've been increasing in crypto valuations over the past few days. I'm now starting to shift that thinking into that there may not be enough liquidity on exchanges for it to have a pullback. As a matter of fact, we might be, I mean, where are we at right now with Bitcoin? Bitcoin's at 41,300, Ethereum's at 26,000. I'm sorry, 2,660 bucks. We might be revisiting Bitcoin at 60,000 sooner than I was anticipating. And it doesn't look like this news about the infrastructure bill is holding it back right now. I'm not sure, guys, but looking at some of these numbers were pretty jaw dropping for me. So I'm extremely happy. Like I said, we almost hit the bottom. Okay, another piece of information to give you guys. For those of you that are wanting to, look, I don't know what's going to happen with Lost Relics in the future. I think Cliff has the opportunity. I think the future is in Cliff's hands, obviously, not only with respect to the game, but I mean, honestly, with Lost Relics being the top game on Enjin, I don't see a world in which, if Enjin doesn't succeed, like, Lost Relics success can help promote Enjin success, and Enjin success can help promote Lost Relics success. Because of that, for me as an individual player, like, I think from my portfolio structure, because I hold 10, 15, 20 different coins, I don't see a world in which I cannot prepare myself to support Lost Relics and Enjin into its future adaptation of Efinity. That being the case, if you are in the same type of mindset of, like, you're wanting to follow whatever path this game may go down, it may not also go down. Like, Cliff could also pull away from Enjin. We have no clue what's going to happen in the future. But I want to make sure that I'm set up to be able to have optionality. Because of that, if you're in that same type of mindset, I would go back and reread the Efinity white paper, because a lot of things have changed on it in the past month, and they're not releasing that information to the public. What I can tell you, and some of you that were watching Twitter have noticed already, that Enjin came out with a tweet last night for me, so 12, 16 hours ago. They came out and they announced that CoinList was going to be listing the EFI token on August 4th, I believe they said. Now, if you've been paying attention to my streams over the past couple of weeks, and I haven't had too many, I apologize for that, hopefully wanting to do some more. But if you've been paying attention to the few that I have, I let you know a week or 2 weeks ago that I went ahead and I got in a position on Polkadot, and I did it around $10.70. So we're making a killing there. But the reason really for it was because I wanted to get set up for an opportunity. If Enjin, I tried to find some information from Enjin somewhere that officially says whether or not they have a parachain, because they're speaking as if they officially do. But I can't find any firm confirmation on that, and maybe there is somewhere and I've just missed it. So under the assumption that they don't have one, but they're going to compete for a parachain, I went ahead and I got some Polkadot in case the opportunity arises for that. If they ask for a crowd loan for the community to loan them Polkadot, to be able to fight in that auction for a parachain, then I would be able to lend them Polkadot. And if they lose, I get the Polkadot back. If they win, they're more than likely, it just makes the most sense to me, but it's not official. They're more than likely going to reward those players that loan them Polkadot by paying them interest with EFI token. So another way to earn EFI, the affinity-based token. You've also heard my ideas on the past streams about like EFI becoming the new currency, and Enjin, like the utility of currency within Enjin is going to be stripped away and given to EFI. So that's important to note. The white paper, going back to what I was saying, the white paper detailed how the public sale and the private sale of the EFI token took place, and the vesting period. And for those of you that may not be familiar, when you're buying like a stock or a crypto, like a vesting period means that like you can buy something and you can't do anything with it for a certain amount of time. You can't sell it. You can't move it. You gotta, I guess we'll do one more. After the vesting period ends, you then have the ability to do whatever you want with the token. The very first public sale that took place in June or July, I forgot what the time frame was. The vesting period for that ended yesterday. 2 days ago on the 30th. Which means that EFI token now has the availability to be sold. It looks like so I was telling everyone, hey, be prepared because that vesting period is going to end, and maybe these tokens are going to become available for sale. And it turns out that it looks like that it ended up being the case, because now they're going to be listing EFI token for sale in the next few days on CoinList, according to their post. I wouldn't FOMO into it. Just like any other initial launch, you can always assume that there's going to be a spike followed by a pullback. Don't feel like you need to like FOMO in. Just know that it's there, and know that, hey, just keep your options open. You know, if that's something you wanted to look into, great, go for it. And if not, then I just gave you extra information for the hell of it. But that looks like where we're at right now. Whew, baby. I think I need to start doing some more cardio if we're going to be talking this much. Huge. Feel like I laid it out all on the line there, guys. I don't know much more I can give for today. But thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. We did just start another run, so I'm going to finish this run. For any of you all, you know, that enjoyed the stream today, do me a favor, take a minute out of your day. If you're on Twitch, jump over on YouTube and go ahead and sub to Strike Team Games. And if you're on YouTube, jump on over to Twitch. Hit me up as my tag on Twitch is StrikerLR. And of course, you all can find me on Twitter with my handle being FMunozCPA. That's FMUNOZ CPA. Ooh, perfect timing for the music. Calm down. Bring it down a notch. YouTube. Thank you, Jay. You're the man, my friend. You are the man. Gail, jumping on in, trying to get a little chat going with Han Solo. Whew, we had a good little run. No blockchain items today. How long we've been streaming for? 2 hours? Little under 2 hours, something like that. It doesn't even say the time. I don't even know how to see the time, guys. I'm wiped out. I am wiped out. You guys got me for the day. Any other closing thoughts I can think of? I think that pretty much covers it, guys. I think that pretty much covers it. Maybe we hit something. We hit a nice little rare item here at the end. But I'm going to do my best, I think, to keep keep bringing you some of the crypto news that's coming up. I just thought today, I mean, since it's like directly in my line of expertise with cryptos and taxes, I do think that I wanted to share my thoughts on this infrastructure bill and what it could mean. So I hope you all were able to take a little bit out of it. I'm sure a lot of you think that, you know, it may be, for a lot of you, it may be not relevant or pertinent information at the time, but I do think it's extremely important to know and learn just slowly over time. Expand your education on the topic, because you never know. Something comes up in the future, maybe something you learned today, you'll be able to make a more educated decision on, and go from there. Let's see. Gail Andrews jumping in on YouTube real quick says, what are your thoughts on getting legendary weapons for potential price increase in the future? Yeah, so I think legendaries right now are at a really interesting point. If you were to add up, I know Gail, you just jumped in, but if you add up the total amount of legendary weapons that are available, bows, axes, swords, across the board, I'm guessing we're looking at, you know what, let's just see if we can do a little guesstimation here on the Lost Relics website, lostrelics.io. You can go lostrelics.io, go to game, go to items, and then go to blockchain. So I'm just going to count. We have weapons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 different weapons. 24 different weapons and player base of, or 24 different weapons. Let's assume, we're speculating, let's assume the average weapon has the average count for legendaries is somewhere between 200 and 500. Let's put it at 400, the average count of scarcity. So there's 24 rare weapons, and of those 24 rare weapons, there's 400 of each. If that's the case, we're looking at almost 10,000 individual weapons. And right now we're at a player base of 11,600. So it's impossible, a monthly player base. I'm talking monthly figures based on the Lost Relics website. So it's now officially, we have crossed the line where it's officially impossible for every single player, should they choose to, if they could. There's way more factors, but if every single player had the money and the willingness to purchase a legendary weapon, not every person would be able to get one. Because of that, I do think we are on the precipice of price increases to occur within the legendary set, the same way that they did within the mythical and transcendent tiers at later points in time of the game when the population of the game was much less. So yeah, do I think there's going to be more price increases? Yes, I do. But I think rather than trying to tell you like what they're worth or how much they should be worth or stuff like that, I think it's more important to continue to gauge the size of the player base and the willingness of that player base to invest in the economy to give you a better idea of when or how often these items will increase. Also, keep into mind because we're like right on that border, the same logic applies in the reverse direction. If we have a drop off in players after a major event or whatnot, it's easier for those to depreciate in value as well, because we're literally on that precipice, on that tier, on that edge. Exactly, Gabi. Since most players do want to have the set, that makes it, if you look at it from like owning sets, which is the way I typically look at it, yeah, that makes it even more scarce, even more difficult. Now, in order to look at it for sets, now you need to do the math on how many bows versus how many melee weapons. And when you do that, I think you're going to be shocked at how few bows are available compared to melee weapons. Keep that in mind. Now, also keep in mind, I mean, really what we're talking about is the difference between ranged and melee. And just because there's less bows right now, I mean, it could imply that more bows are gonna come in the future, or it could also imply that more ranged is gonna come in the future. Maybe that's what Magic is. Who knows? If Magic comes into the game. So that's why you gotta, premiums and discounts, baby. Premiums and discounts. Gail, thank you very much for the information. Very nice input. I do believe that there's huge potential upside on the player base. Depends on Cliff. Watch the massive surge in NFTs and play to earns, and most games are not at the same level as Lost Relics. I agree. So the way I currently view them right now, it's very easy, I think, for crypto to put economics first. Since crypto began with the idea of currency, crypto coming from that standpoint first is interesting to me. I think that's how we got obviously Bitcoin and DeFi. I think NFTs and crypto gaming is the reverse side, is the flip side of that coin, which is that utility gets valued first before economics, So if that logic or if that type of mindset is correct or ends up playing out, I see a world where Axie Infinity led first with an economic model to build on the game mechanics and the utility and the more fun aspect of the game, which, you can make 100 arguments both ways. I don't think there is a right or wrong answer. And I actually see Lost Relics as the opposite, as a game that's focused on mechanics and the fun aspect of the game primarily, and then working economics into it secondarily. So I think it's really interesting to be, if you're invested in both games, I think you're going to be it's going to be an interesting ride. It's going to be a really interesting ride. I think we're going to see how it's going to be so interesting to see how these different models compare to each other, how they grow over time. All right, coming across the final lock-in room to wrap this stream up. Again, going back to the idea of value, at the end of the day, I just think that time is money. I think a lot of you can understand that. So I would push you to do a little more thought, a little more evaluation on what a game, not only how much money a game can earn and or distribute to its players and whatever, like, not only to look at it from the financial aspect, but also evaluate these games from a time perspective first. Okay. The reason why I say time is because the video game industry, traditional video game industry, has always looked at it as its ability to compete against TV, music, sports by how many hours of gameplay, how many human hours is the project able to capture and retain from other medium and other sources. And I don't think enough players right now are looking at these games from that perspective. If you look at any individual game with time being your primary thought, how does time work in the game? How do players contribute their time? How do the projects contribute their time? How much time is invested into these eco spaces? It could give you, and if you think that time is money, it can give you a completely different outlook on where the game can go. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for tuning in today. We had a hell of a stream. I very much enjoyed it. I think I might, oh man, I think I accidentally closed my Twitch. So let's see if we can find someone to raid really quick. Guys, again, thank you so much for checking in with me. I really enjoyed the stream a lot. I'm probably going to go through it, maybe cut out some clips here or there to see what we can do. Soul1G is streaming right now, so we're gonna go ahead and do a little raid over here for you that are on Twitch. For everybody else that's on YouTube, again, thank you for hanging out with me for today. Let's see, let me get this raid started up so that you guys can jump on in. All right, thank you guys so much. Whenever you get a shot, and as soon as those the video on demand goes up, do me a favor and go ahead and click the like button. Any little bit helps. Oh, I think, you know what? I think he's AFK right now, man. Oh, ouch. Okay. He's AFK, so I don't want to just throw you guys over there. I don't want to throw you guys over there to an empty stream. That would be a little boring. So we will see. Let's see who else we can raid real quick. Frosty, Dairy is on it. I can't tell if Frosty is at his Frosty's seat. I don't know if Frosty's at his game. So let's jump on in with Derry really quick, and make sure to tell him that Striker sends his love. Hope you guys have some fun. Looks like he's on Salt Beach right now, grinding out some of those chests. So I'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for hanging out. We had a great stream today. Go show a little bit of love and support the communities that you're in. For now, I will catch you all later. Peace out.